Compare what Labour promised against what the Asset Michael Lester Bird administration delivered between 1999 and 2004. Count the specific commitments in that red manifesto. Some of you might remember it. It was a red book that was not worth the paper it was printed on. One of the promises they made was to build a new terminal at VC Bird International Airport. They also promised to complete the parallel runway. They said they had the money for the new airport terminal and the new parallel runway from the Kuwait Fund. They did not build a new airport. They did not build a parallel runway. Where did the Kuwaiti millions go? They said in the 1999 Red Manifesto that they would support small business. Lo and behold, 2 months before the last election, Lester Bird was telling the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I want to quote, if local businesses are to compete successfully against others, both in our local market and abroad, there is an urgent need for mergers and amalgamations to create bigger entities with the capacity necessary for successful competition. For all Antiguans and Barbudans with small business ventures, for all those owners of micro businesses who have created jobs and helped to grow the economy, I think Lester Bird's declaration to the Chamber of Commerce and Industry 5 years ago is worth repeating. Listen to the former Prime Minister, whom I again quote. If local businesses are to compete successfully against others both in our local market and abroad, there is an urgent need for mergers and amalgamations to create bigger entities with the capacity necessary for successful competition. End of quote. The formula the former Prime Minister had for mergers and amalgamations to create bigger entities would have wiped out small businesses in this country. It was the same formula of mega mergers and acquisitions that has led to the global financial collapse that is now crippling the economies of the most powerful nations of this world. That is what Lester Bird and the LP would have done to this country if the people had not voted them out. Anyhow, I don't suppose you can blame Lester. He was not born in Antigua. He was made in America. In contrast to the ALP plan to wipe out small business, the United Progressive Party has mandated a special place in the sun for micro and small businesses. The evidence of how UPP small business policies are working is all around us in this city and all around the country. They are working for suppliers to the school meals program, and they are working for suppliers in the school uniforms program. All of this means more power to the people. Under the ALP, it is more power to the powerful and to hell with the small man. Antigua and Barbuda has come too far to turn back now. Do you agree? Antigua and Barbuda has come too far to turn back now. At the same Chamber of Commerce and Industry luncheon at which he revealed his plans for mergers and acquisitions, that would have had the big business sharks gobbling up the small business sardines, Lester Bird had some choice words for those of us who were calling for new standards of transparency, integrity, and morality. He called us neophytes. He called us ignorant when we said that his government could not stand up to the transparency, integrity, and morality tests. Well, this neophyte made sure that in the first year of UPP government, We had legislation for integrity in public life, prevention of corruption, and freedom of information on the books. In its 1999 manifesto, the 3% ALP government said it would complete the hospital at Mount St. John's before the 2004 general elections. Do you remember? Lester Bird even went as far as to say that if the Mount St. John's Hospital was not opened, he was not going to run again. Do you remember? And brothers and sisters, I am hearing some things that the ALP may be planning with respect to the Mount St. John Hospital. But let me move on with what I have to say for now. Though Lester has been boasting that he and his late father, V.C. Bird, ruled Antigua for close to 100 years. You obviously heard him. I think the people are still trying to figure out that one. You see, he really should not be bragging about that. It brings back memories of his infamously spoken vanity that without the Birds, there would be no Antigua. Do you remember that? When he says that about 100 years, it brings us right back to that infamous statement which was said that without the Birds, Antigua and Barbuda would be nothing. What does not take any figuring out is the fact that Lester Bird is going to rule this country again, not even for 100 days. His 100 years were clearly more than enough. The country is still trying to recover. Now that the Sunshine government is about to move patients from Halberton to Mount St. John, Lester Bird is threatening, and I want you people to hear this, is threatening that red shirts will march into the Mount St. John Hospital. And the word is out that they are planning a public event at Mount St. John this Saturday. This brings us to the question of personal safety and public peace as an issue in the campaign. It is obvious that disruption of the operation of Mount St. John Medical Center is high on the ALP's agenda to subvert, disrupt, and destabilize the country in the run-up to this election. Old dogs simply cannot learn new tricks. I want to send a warning to them, however, to those whom the Bible describes as reprobates, that they should think twice about attempting to terrorize the country in this election season, as was done the last time the ALP was in opposition. You remember what they did to this country between 1971 and 1976? I want you all to cast your minds back. As Prime Minister and as Minister of National Security, I am responsible for public safety and public peace and good order in this country. I will ensure that no extreme elements put people and property at risk in this election campaign. I want them to understand that clearly. They are not going to get away with the things that they did in this country between 1971 and 1976.